Welcome, everybody, to another episode of She Rises. We are live right now, which is so exciting. And I am Leslie Kuster. I am the best-selling author of 7 Keys to 7 Figures, the Women Entrepreneur's Guide to Money and Freedom. And on the screen right now, you can see Get Your Free $1 Million Resource Guide. So I put together a resource guide. I kind of opened up my Rolodex and I just have a guide there for like the best podcasts and the best books that I've read, some coaches as well as like investment opportunities. So go and grab that at lesliekuster.com. So today we are talking about my absolute favorite topic, which is visibility. And we have a fantastic guest today. Her name is Angélique Binet, and she is an online visibility strategist and also a TEDx speaker. What she does is she helps service-based women entrepreneurs fall in love with fear and become visible, even if they're not sure what to say online and are mortified of the idea of selling their services online. She is also the brand new author of her new book called Are You Visible? What Happens in Your Business When You Show Up for Yourself. So I will bring onto the stage right now Angélique. Angélique, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to talk about visibility. Thanks again.
Thank you so much. I will never forget your message I think it was an email and said, I saw that you wrote a book about Are You Visible? I am a visibility girl. Can we have a conversation? It was like so awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, I was really excited about that as well. And I want to just kind of like jump right in. And if you could share your own personal experience with visibility, because I would guess, since this is like a topic that you are become now an expert on, that it really sat somewhere in your heart and in your own personal experience. So can you just tell us and talk a little bit about why this is an important topic to you and maybe share some stories around that?
Yes, totally. So why is it important is, I kind of studied my entrepreneurial journey 10, 11 years ago. And it was in the food industry at the time. And I was like many women who open business. They love what they do. They have a passion, they have an expertise, and they have fun. And then suddenly, it goes from a side hustle to, oh, what if I could do that full time or, as a full time thing. And I applied for a loan. So that was way back 12 years ago. And then on the application, there is a section where it says, what is your marketing plan? And I'm like, marketing. Oh, another thing to learn. Like, and so, I had no idea about what marketing is about, to tell you the truth. And to make the story short, at the time I got offered a job at the same time I was building a business as a social media strategist. And I didn't know anything about social media at the time. But my experience as a TV reporter, like I had almost at the time 20 years of experience in communication, was transferable. And I'm like, I'm open to learn anything. So I started that job as a social media strategist and fell in love with the power of having a phone and do whatever you want with your phone, right? So at the time, and I'm still working a few days a week for a large organization that use millions of dollars in advertising. But what happened is that my friends who were entrepreneurs, they started to come to me and say, Angelique, you're in social media. Can you help me with my social media? Because I don't know how to get my name out there. I don't know how to stand out. So I started to kind of help my friends. And this is when I went from cooking to cooking others' visibility. But the thing that was a kicker, I would say, is my own story with my very, very first Facebook Live. Because we all have that experience and we all remember it the first time you go live. I'm pretty sure you remember as well, Leslie, what happened or didn't happen. You're like, what's going to happen when I push the button? So at the time I was teaching the 8 fun ways to eat avocados as part of my I had like a pen, a big, large notebook. I was so ready. At the time, I was a fan of Shailene Johnson. I don't know if you know her. She's still a rock star of marketing. And I was like, hey, wait, sweet avocados. And then nobody was watching. And there was nothing happened. Plus the fear of pushing the button and everything. But what happened 2 weeks later, I was grocery shopping. And then someone stopped me at the grocery store and said, are you Angélique? And so I look up, I'm like, yeah, that's me. And she says, well, you don't know me, but I know you from your video about 8 ways to eat avocados. And guess what? I have the pickiest son to feed. And since that video, he now loves avocados. And I'm like, that day really sealed the deal for me. Like,
Yeah.
you never know who's watching, and there is always someone watching. Always.
Yeah. So it sounds to me like you were never scared about being visible, because
Oh, yeah, I was.
can you share some of that too? Because that really, I remember when I did my first video, and I was in a private Facebook group with like 6 people. Okay, so we're not even talking, it wasn't even live to like everybody. And I think you had to record it in this program I was in and post it there. And I think I redid it, 4, 5, 6 times. And when I finally posted my video to like literally 6 people, it was like one of the scariest things I've ever done. So how was it for you?
Well, the thing is, what I know now is I'm still scared.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing, right? Because when you know that your message is so important for others, and you're like, the first thing that comes to mind, because your mind wants to stop you, like, no, we're not going there. We're not going to help people and get successful and get paid for it. But when you know that this is the only way for you, like your message is so important, then right away, your fear of rejection kicks in. And that's, for me, that was the big thing. You're like, what are, I had a discussion recently about your friends and families. When you start to really share what you think, what you stand for, the fear is about the people who know you, and suddenly they're going to see you from another angle. They're going to see you online. And then they were like, what? She talks about those stuff? What does she know about this? Like, those type of thoughts were coming to me. Like, who does she think she is? Right? So that fear of being judged by the people, your peers, is a thing that is real. Then when you pass that, it's more the fear of, what if, I have nothing new to say? What if it's not earth shattering? That's what I hear always from my clients. They come to me, I'm like, you want me to talk about this? But I don't have a story. It's not earth shattering. So for me, the part that I was hiding the most was my story. I was, very, very hesitant, very judgmental on authors using their personal stories to make money. Basically, that's how my brain was working. My thoughts were like, oh, look at that. She makes us cry, and then now she invites us to her program. So my mind was simplifying things like this until I learned more of why humans love stories. Why, when we're kids, we love to be told a story by our bedtime, right? It's the same in our marketing, because we can identify with the person in front of us and finally listen to what she has to say, because most of us, we are transformative consultant or coaches. So everything we speak is about how you can change and how you can help others to change. But it takes a lot of guts the first times, because you need to stand out. You need to show yourself and others that you are the one who is the best equipped right now, in that time, in that season of life, to help the audience that you're talking to change. So that's my different layers of fear that I had to work with, and I still work with them. But now, I did a lot of training about those fears, because it stops you. If you don't know how your mind works and your body works, it will stop you. And that's why it makes me so mad and sad to see so many women entrepreneurs who have big dreams with their business, but they never show up. So when you're not, I don't say that you have to be online. There are many other ways to be known. But if you want to have social media or the online world as part of your lead generation, you got to be there, right? Otherwise, people will forget about you. If you come here for 3 weeks, then you disappear for 3 months. then there are so many activities online. So the key is that when you know that you feel that fear, is to know it's not your red light, it's your green light. It
Yeah.
means if you're scared enough, that means it's the right step for you. This is everything that you want is outside of that fear, right? So if you feel the fear, it's a sign that, oh, that's what I have to do. That's what I have to say. That's what I have to do that live today, even if I really don't feel like it, because it's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I love how you pointed out at the beginning that the first fear is actually what our friends and our family are going to say, because that's definitely was something for me. Like, what are they going to, they don't know me in this way, and what are they going to think of me? And I hope they don't see it, and all that kind of stuff. And there's like different levels. And I also love that you said you're still fearful and there's still fear. And I think that's really important. And I feel that applies to so many other things in our lives and running a business as well, is that one thinks maybe when you get to a certain level that you don't have challenges anymore, or that you don't have fears anymore, or you don't have insecurities anymore, or you don't have confidence anymore. And what I have found is that in order to get over confidence issues or fear issues or whatever issue it is, it's actually not through our thinking about it anymore. It's actually by action. It's actually by doing something that will make you do it, even though you don't have confidence, you don't have, you're scared to death. So I think that's really important for everybody to understand and realize.
Yeah, fear never goes away
Mhm.
as long as you grow. The day you don't feel fear anymore, it's a sign that you're not stretching anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is, for me now, it's my barometer. Like if I feel, oh, that's easy for me, so it's fine that it's easy. But I mean, if you feel that you feel stuck at a plateau or that something needs to change, then check inside. Like what is the next thing you could do that kind of feels like, ooh. And that's probably a sign that this is the right direction. Because when you become, especially as a female entrepreneur, I always say that entrepreneurship is really personal growth on steroid, right?
Mhm.
Because everywhere you hide within yourself, it will go and get you right there in the little corners that you've been putting off for years, decades. That's my story, and that's what my book is about. All those little corners, don't want to touch. I'm building my business, leave me alone. But the business will bring you back to where you hide from yourself. And this is where the fears of being visible to others are amplified by everything that is inside of you, all the stories and all those, belief that don't even belong to us, that come with us as we grow with our culture, our family, our experience of life. So that's why there's a big cleanup to do when you become visible inside of you first, so that you feel more and more like equipped to be like, yes, I know I'm here for this on earth. And yes, you need to build the strategy and the tactics, but who you are inside of you will be a reflection of who you are online. And you won't outgrow your online impact until you grow you inside of you. And that's what I've discovered. And that's really my message.
Yeah, I think for service-based businesses, because like as many of you know, I don't have a service-based business. I just like to write books and help women entrepreneurs. But my business
Just, I
is
would,
a
cute.
it's a product-based business. And so for my product-based business, I don't really need to be, my face does not have to be in front of the camera. But for a service-based business, and I know that's who you work with, those are your clients. So those
Yes.
are coaches, et cetera, for example, being visible, like physically visible, and especially on video, is become crucial.
Yes, videos, there is so many season of videos. Right now we're in reels, and everything had to go from the formatting of videos. Right now we're into short videos, longer videos. We are like everything. It's a mix of all kind of videos. But no matter what, especially if you like, that's something I hear often, oh, I don't know what type of video I need to use, so I'm not using videos. So just so you know, all of you, if this is a big story of your mind, no matter whether you know what type of video to do, the thing is to work that muscle, right? And to grab the phone. And also, maybe if you allow me to share a tip, when you're really allergic to videos, and you're like, you don't even consider like, how can I be my face on a screen? I do a lot of walks. And it's been 10 years that I do this, and I do easily videos. But still now, if I need to launch a new program, for example, how to express why you should get into the program, what are the benefits, and you put your phone on the camera and you talk to your phone, to yourself, just to build that muscle of talking to your phone, number one, because that's true. It's kind of weird when you take a helicopter view, and you watch humans right now. They're all doing a thing with a thing in their hand. What is that hand? And they're talking to their phone. It's funny, right?
Yeah.
So you need to build that muscle of holding like the phone in your hand and talk to the screen. And then after that, you build the next muscle. It's like there is someone watching. And that person watching, it's not just a random person, because as you know, there are so many offers online, right? But the one who's going to stop and listen is probably the one that is ready to hear and receive. And yeah, you may not know who it is for a long time. Most of my clients never engaged. And then 2 years later, they come, or 3 years later, and they know everything I talked about in the last 3 years. Some people don't engage, but my message here is like, you're building a digital footprint. And our brain loves repetition. So the more you show up, let's say you commit to one video a week where people feel your energy, they see how you move, your smile, like, look at us, we're a very smiley woman. And so it's, you like it or not, that you're not for everybody, but someone's going to be like, oh, I would love to be with someone who looks so positive and happy and optimistic. And, so that's the part of video, is really to communicate your being, who you are as a human, right? Outside of the things you say, there is a presence of video that is so powerful. The same with audio. When you listen to podcasts, voices are very powerful as well. You don't have to see, like, all our senses. So that's why video right now works super well in most of the platforms. And you don't have to do full length video. Just do it to yourself first. Then maybe film a flower, like share a little bit of who you are, that you walk a lot. You don't even have to show yourself, just building the habits. And then think of that person that maybe you helped in the last 7 days. One of your clients, you said something and really helped them. Or someone on social media who commented because you said something that you didn't expect, that what you were about to say did that to that person, and talk to that person. That's kind of what even when I was a TV reporter for 10 years, I was reporting in the news every day in front of 1,000 of people. And the only person at first I could think of was my grandma. As soon as I would start visualizing that all those eyes in their living room cooking, because it was like the news show at 6 p.m., that would freeze me. I had to talk and tell the news for my grandmother. So who is your grandmother? Like, whoever in your audience you want to work with, focus on them.
That's a nice tip, actually, to focus on like one person that you love or that you feel really comfortable with, and that's who you're going to be talking to. Also, I think from what I've seen is we don't have to have any polished videos anymore. I think when video started, I don't know, a couple of years ago, where it started to become like super, super popular, there was this feeling like it had to be like a perfect video and we had to make it all perfect. And what I'm finding is actually the more imperfect the videos are, like you're just yourself, you stumble or whatever it is, you share a flower, like you're saying, or something of yourself, the more people will relate to that. And I see the change in that in my own business, where I do a lot of videos in fashion, and I have often used very, very professional models. And I'm finding now with like the influencers who are more like normal looking women, that those are much more approachable, those videos. So I think this is something that's important for people to understand. It doesn't have to be perfect in any way.
Yeah, I like what you say because in my other life where I work with a large organization, we use influencers. So for female entrepreneurs, like you are your own influencer. And so how can people relate to you as an influencer of your own? I always detach myself from, I'm social media love. I am an influencer. I am not social media love. My business is the name of my business, but I am the influencer for social media love. So on days that I feel like, oh, I don't know if I want to post today, I'm not inspired. I connect with social media love, who has a big mission to amplify women's voice online and offline, one post, one video, one belief at a time. I am the influencer. I have the responsibility to bring my brand to people who need it. It's not about me. It's not about the owner of the business. Like we have amazing, beautiful expertise as female entrepreneurs, and our job is to make sure that our business, with the vehicle of our mission, of our impact in the world, we have to serve our brand. And so when you say like polished versus less polished, I think there was such an overdoses around very beautiful video all the time that people got sick of it
Yeah.
because they were like, I'm not like that person. Like, and it didn't matter. Like, nobody is always happy 100% of the time in life. So I think that people are craving to feel that authenticity. That, oh, okay, if she can do it in her pajamas, I can do it. Like, I'm not just a lazy girl if I stay in my pajamas. Like there was that shaming process with either you're perfect or you're out. And I think now it's more like yeah, authentic and more real life. And I think when you hire someone, you want to trust that person at that level before you give the money to invest in their programs and services, because you want them to be real and be present to you, right? Present. That's another thing. I think authenticity bring that part as well, that you are present, you're involved, you care. And I think that's really important in our marketing, to show that we care. We're not just here to kind of sell. We care, really. We care. Like that's really important, I think, in videos especially.
So when a woman is like really nervous to go on camera or to become more visible, and what can she do? I know you said just take your camera and like walk outside and things like that, but what are some more things that she can do? And also, why is it so important that she gets on camera or on audio? Why is it even that important? Is it something like you have to do if you're a service-based business now?
I would say you don't have to do, because you're the boss. You do what you want.
Yeah.
Now,
Hey, I love being the boss.
exactly what we say when we first start our businesses. I want to be
Yeah,
my own boss, to do what I want when I want.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
And
true.
so I think it's just, again, videos, it is because it brings all the senses together. The eyes, I think there is only the smell and the touch that you can really bring, right? So it's like a good combo of having your energy dispatched through the internet. I think that's what it is, right? But you don't have to do videos. I think you can convey your message through words only or through audio only. Like it's not an obligation, but I personally enjoy to see people in their meat suit, like moving and who they
Yeah.
are, because I can imagine I am here with them, like there is no more screen. That's what it is. But so what do you do? So when you feel that big resistance, so number one, um, is to know that it's completely normal,
Hmm.
because resistance is an expression that your mind uses to express fear. And so when you're like, no, I don't want to do it. So, and then maybe you're like, like you decide today, tomorrow is the day you're going to do your live. The live tomorrow arrives. You have your period. You don't feel great. Oh, okay. I'll do it after. Then you arrive that day, it's like, oh my God, I need to bring the kids XYZ. And then so number one, observing your behavior.
Mm.
Okay. I'm not saying like you have to do it live, even if you're like burning and you're really sore. It's not what I mean. But there is, we're using a lot of excuses to postpone the moment of big resistance. So number one. Number two, our fears are way more important than our fear are less important than our mission. Because when you created your business, there was a big mission behind it. And it's so important to reconnect to that mission, because
Yeah.
that mission is way, way more important. Like I always go back to, some people say I'm extreme with this, the day you die. And then when you look behind and you're like, I really want to feel that I've tried everything I wanted to do and that I feel that it's time to go. I really don't want to look back and say, oh shit, I should have done this.
No.
Right. So know that fear is here. It's your best friend, number one, because you're scared because you're becoming someone else. When you get visible, you have an impact. You're gonna have an impact. That's inevitable. You're gonna be successful at it, and that's what I think is freaking us out as well. As soon as you're more visible, you're more seen, you're more heard, so people are gonna come to you and they're gonna buy from you. That's for sure. So I think when we say fear of success, that's one of the big resistance as well.
Yeah, I think that's a really big point. I think there's a lot of fear to be visible. And then there's a lot of fear of, oh my God, suppose I am visible. I think it's like a pull, like, oh, I wish I was more visible. I wish I was invited to be on a summit. I wish I would this. I wish someone would invite me on their podcast. And then when those things start to happen, there's an identity change. Like, can I really do this? And what am I going to say? And maybe I don't really want to be that visible, right? It goes both things.
Yeah, I love that you say that, Leslie, because so my practice of of coaching and building visibility presence for women entrepreneur. At first, I was just doing strategy, tactics, bringing all the things that you have to make marketing work and sales process. But then I realized very, very, like maybe 5 years ago, that even if you have the best system in place, if you are not ready to feed the machine with your content, to show up, whether it's in video or not, you still have to put your skin in the game. It won't work. You have to become someone else, because visibility and entrepreneurship makes you change your identity. And there is a famous saying that you cannot do the things with who you are now. Like you can, I think it's an Einstein quote. Like you cannot do things now with how you are now. Or like you have to change the way you think. What brought you there won't get you there. That's the one I was looking for.
Yes.
And that is so true. That is so true. You would have told me like 10 years ago, you're going to write a book, you're going to do on a TEDx stage. I would have been like,
right.
Yeah, in your dreams, right? But you changed. And I think the key behind this is that we never teach enough, or even in schools. You have to connect with your biggest desires, because we're so capable. And allowing yourself to dream and desire the big things in your business or in your life is a key point, so that when the resistance shows up before your live video, you're so anchored in your vision, in your mission, in your impact in the world, that you're like, yeah, I have a little pot of fear. That's my pot of fear. I'm going to show you. I'm so transparent. On days that I need to do big things, I'm going to talk to my pot of fears. I'm like, I see you. I know you don't want me to do that live when I'm going to be inviting people to my new program. I know. Like the little girls, like, no, we're from the farm in France. We're like, we don't ask people for money. All the stories, the rejection, the abandonment stories from your childhood are coming up at those moments where you are ready to shine. So I talk to my fears and I'm like, we are good. And then I breathe, because safety is the key. Safety through your nervous system. Your nervous system is like when you start a video and you're like, So that's your nervous system that's freaking out. And usually it's because you need to do some more breathing before you hit live, and calm down your body. Because as soon as, as soon as your mind's gonna say, holy no, I don't want to talk to them, like what if they don't like what I have to say, then your body is starting to feel constricted and restricted, then your nervous system is like boom, boom, and then you're short of breath, or you're warm or cold. It's so we're body first, right? And then, so when you're aware of this, before you hit live, like do rounds of breathing, like slow, deep breathing, talk to your fears that you are safe. There is a big difference between fear and danger. As long as your fear, like there is no death or life at the end. Nobody died from a Facebook live that I know of, right? So, and then when it's not a danger, it's a fear, it's all good. Number one, it's a sign that it's the right thing to do. Number two, it's to calm down your nervous system through your breathing. There are many other somatic things you can do. I love tapping. Sometimes if I'm in a live and I'm uncomfortable, you might see me talk and do that. And then some of you know what I'm doing, but some don't. But that just brings you back in your body. And so I think, visibility comes with, as I said, from the inside, because depending on what's going on inside of you, what if you've been suppressing for so many years, it will pop up when it's time to become public. And then, so that's why, we do the work of soothing the inside before we go live or visible, because it goes hand in hand. It's really not the algorithm that stopped you from being successful online. I promise you, it's you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I love everything that you said. I love the part, especially about, kind of thinking about your death. That's actually something I like to remind people of, because I've been reminded so much of it in my own life, that, we have to keep thinking like that, when we're laying on our deathbed, are we going to be like, I'm so glad I didn't go on, I didn't become visible. Like, no one's ever going to say that. You're only going to say, wow, I'm proud of myself. Maybe I didn't do so good, but I tried and I did it. And that's really what we want to do. We don't want to hide, and we don't want to undermine ourselves. And I think the other thing you brought up, which is so important, which in order to do it, we need to connect with what it is that we really, really, really want, what the deeper, you said, deeper desire is. And when we connect with the deeper desire, that you really have something you want to bring into the world, a program or a message or an idea or a story, that's really what's motivating you, then it makes it much more easier. It's no longer about you personally, what your friends are going to think, what your family is going to think, right? It's much more about what you have this desire to bring and to help other people.
Yeah, yes. And then add a layer of storytelling to this, and that's going to make your nervous systems freak out even more. So you do more like healing and more breathing exercise. But the power of storytelling in marketing or in writing books, right? This is where you build connections when you share more of your story. And I love the way you interview me. You like, but tell me about you when you were scared, like, because, it's one thing to say, well, when you're scared, you're going to do this, this. It's like, what does it feel when you are scared? What does it look like? So,
yes.
And so I could even tell you even more stories around this in terms of fear. Like I ended up to ER.
Tell us more.
Well, and doctor said I did an embolism, but after looking at all the things that they don't understand, it was probably not even an embolism. The stress I was putting on myself, and that's when I started to do my healing. I was building the business, running the family, and all the things, and at some point, I felt inside of me that I was not clear with myself, and it felt that I would explode. The body was talking. And that's, I think a lot of women entrepreneurs have those stories, they almost die. And you just mentioned that you have many stories where your body said, hello, I'm here.
Yes. Yeah, it's true. I had one a year ago, actually, which is
The body knows. The body
Mhm.
knows. So if you keep building the business and being visible, even like if you look at me, I'm visible, but I'm visible from a different place now. Even if you think you're visible, are you visible? Because that's what happened to me. I piled up,
Yes.
and then I ended up to ER, which was an amazing reset. When you can go back up, and it's like, okay, a wink by the universe, right? Like, so you know that's why I wanted to write the book, Leslie, because are you visible? Even if you're one of those who are on social media every day, it doesn't mean you're fully visible. And that's really my message, because you were saying how people like authentic videos right now. So what are you hiding from yourself that actually transfer into your marketing? And that was a kicker for me in my business. How
Mm.
I became visible to myself really helped finally hit the six figure, like all the markers unlocked.
Angelique, can you give an example of what you're talking about right now? Because I think that's super important, because it sounds like you went from this to that based on becoming more authentic. Like, can you
Exactly.
give an
Yeah.
example?
Yeah. So I'm just going so yeah. And it's not so if you look at my journey, I was building the business, couldn't I felt stuck. And then I'm like, oh, I want to be a millionaire. So that's why I love the name of your book. And I'm like, so I bought my first coaches, investing in your first coach. Like that was a big deal for me. Like that was like 2015, maybe. And then I'm like, oh, okay, but okay, I want a coach that knows how to make millionaires. And I still don't know how I got into that mastermind, because I was far from being a millionaire or close to be a millionaire. But I went there for a year, and I was like swimming with people who were millionaire or, on their way there. And I wanted to see, like, what is the thing I haven't learned that they know? And then I discovered that they were also talking about mindset. They were also talking about
Yeah.
body safety. They were reading tarot cards. And I'm like, what? So for me, I'm like, I realized that the people who are millionaires and that are not yet, they're the same. What is the difference is the way that you build your inside so that you
Mm.
can become the person that is ready to receive that money, receive that attention, receive that number of clients, all the things that comes with when you grow. And
Yes.
that was for me what changed everything, except that I'm like, oh my God, I need to work on myself. And I
Yes.
was not very keen on this.
Yeah, that is exactly correct. There's, I talk about it also. There's action is super important, but there's interaction. There's interaction and there's outer action. And what you're referring to is the interaction and the working on ourselves. And that is the key to success, because that's the only way to go from being mediocre and just sort of running on your to-do list and everything into something that's so much more like authentic and real and all of that.
Yeah. And so for me, that's when I decided, because I was doing all the things, and I'm like, I couldn't understand. I'm even, a marketing expert, an advertiser and everything. I'm like you have a tendency to say what's wrong with me. So number one, there is nothing wrong with you. It's called the art of change, the art of growth.
Mm.
And we're all going through this, and that's why it's really important. I've learned that to surround myself with communities that
Mm.
hold you when you feel that there is nothing left in you.
So important.
Yes. And that was a game changer, and allowing yourself to go there and be patient, compassionate, removing all the judgment. And then little by little, it unlocked. So the revenue generation, the way I was packaging my offers, the way I was charging for my
Mm.
offers, everything. I had one of my desires was to do a luxury retreat in France, where I am from. I'm talking to you from Canada, but my family is in France. And one of my big dreams was, I had the hotel and everything in my in my dream.
Yeah.
It happened during that work I was doing on me, and it was so easy. And then 8 beautiful women came to the retreat. It was one of the best moments of my life. And I realized that, so if you know how to use your mind, your
Yeah.
body, your nervous system, then you know how the machine works.
Yeah.
Because we are energy first. And this is the energy that leads your capacity to grow. And that's the world I am in now, that I bring to my clients who are banging their head on the strategy and
Yes.
doing all the things. But if that part is not on, it won't go.
Then nothing really works. I love that. It's such an important message. So we're going to wrap up right now. And if you could just share how people could find you, your website is up on the screen right now. You
Yeah.
have a book that is out. Where can they get it? So tell
So,
everybody how
yeah,
they can work with you.
the website you put is perfect because the book is right on it. And when you were asking for a very specific example in the book, I give you very vulnerable examples. It was not all chapters were not fun to write, but I knew I had to share that with you because this is how I've learned from the people who guided me in my journey. Like, the more you can identify that we're all different, but we're all the same. We are all craving for love, and we're all the same fear of being rejected and judged and abandoned, no matter what shape and form it can take, depending on who you are and your story. So that book helps you understand, be kind to yourself. Stop judging the fact you're not showing up every day on social media like you want to. There is a bigger story to this. So that's what it is about.
I love it. So thank you so much for being here today. I really love this conversation.
Thank
And
you.
everybody, if you're having issues around visibility, and who isn't, okay, go and get Angélique's book and also reach out to her if you want to work directly with her. So thank you so much for being here on She Rises, and I will see you on the next She Rises. Thanks, everybody. Bye.